Hi, something a bit different on this episode of Geek Lunch Meat as I take this vintage Hoth Wampa and we'll try and restore him back to his former glory. Hi, I'm your host Chris. Welcome back to this Geek Lunch Meat where, as I say, we try to see if we can get this guy looking like he should have done back when he first came out in the early 80s. During lockdown, I've been putting together a collection of vintage Star Wars figures, mostly from eBay. Trying to do it as cheap as possible. I'll do a video later on, just looking at some of the tips and tricks I learned in how to try and pick up all the figures of the cheapest way possible. Along the way, one of the ways to do that is if you pick up ones that need a bit of restoration done on them, in particular the ones with the white plastics especially, they're all yellow over time. As you can probably see, this guy's legs are fine. His body looks incredibly yellow. He certainly hasn't heeded Frank Zappa's words of not eating the yellow snow. In fact, he looks like he's been eating it, drinking it, and pretty much bathing in it. So we will try and get rid of all that and get him looking back to the way he was back in the early 80s. So let's give it a go. Right, so here's the Hoth Wampa that I picked up pretty cheap on eBay. As you can see, his legs are not bad at all. His body and his arms look like he's had a 60-a-day habit for years. For turning round, you can see on the back especially, and he's got like these lines going down the back of his arms, and it's quite yellow around his claws as well. So what we need to do is basically give him a bath. I will wash him in a minute in just fairy liquid, just hot soapy water. First thing to do with any of the things like that you get from eBay, just clean them up a little bit. Now, obviously, you can do that till the cows come home, and it will not get this yellow off because that is basically staining on the plastic. Now, the way to get rid of that is using this, which is hydrogen peroxide. You can buy in bottles in Boots the Chemist. I got these. There's about 4 bottles in there. They're only £1 a bottle, and basically you put whatever you're trying to clean in there and put it out in the sun, because hydrogen peroxide basically reacts with ultraviolet light. Now, Google tells me hydrogen peroxide and ultraviolet light are combined in a synergistic effect to degrade organic chemicals in aqueous solutions, whatever that means. And it says the nascent oxygen combines with colouring matter, which in turn gets oxidized. Thus, the bleaching action of hydrogen peroxide is due to the oxidation of the colouring matter by nascent oxygen used in the bleaching of silk, ivory, wool, etc. And obviously used in, I think, people bleaching their hair as well. So this guy basically goes in here and you put him out in the sun. Now, depending on how much sunlight, what time of year you're doing this, it may only take a few hours, it may take a few days. Now, at the moment, it's beginning of April here. Now, to be honest, last week was the hottest day on record for March for about 50 years. And then yesterday it snowed. So good old British weather and climate change. So I've no idea how long this is going to take. So what we'll do first of all is we'll go and give him a bath in some hot soapy water, and then we'll stick him in the hydrogen peroxide, and then we'll put him outside. So the first thing to do is just give him a clean in hot soapy water using a toothbrush or whatever you've got. I do this with all vintage toys I got off eBay just to get the grime off them. I think this chap is almost 40 years old and he's probably been played with a lot. So I'll get all of this more clean. As I say, this won't get any of the yellow off at all because that is a chemical reaction that's happened with plastic. As I say, the legs haven't changed at all over the years. Quite often, where these are made in factories, they were made all around the world. They all use slightly different plastics. And sometimes the arms and legs were made out of softer plastics, especially on the ordinary action figures. So he'll probably be fine. So give him a rinse off. So He's now nice and clean, so next thing he needs to do is to go into the hydrogen peroxide. Right, so into the hydrogen peroxide he goes. There's a bit of a tight fit, but there he goes. Just about fits in this one. Close the lid. Right, now, as you can see, he's not completely submerged, but I found from experience that doesn't really matter. It's mainly to do with, say, this chemical reaction that the hydrogen peroxide has with the ultraviolet light. It creates a gas. So what I will, even though the bits that aren't submerged, they still appear to change colour anyway. What I will do is I will rotate him any rate over the hours and possibly days, checking on him just to see and make sure it's all coming off. But for now, we'll go and put him out in the sun. Right, so we've got some rare sunshine here in Britain. So there he is outside. Excuse the weeds and the lawn all needs mowing. There we go. We'll leave him out in the sun for a bit, and we'll come back and check on him in a little while. Right, so it's been several days. This guy's been out in his hydrogen peroxide bath in the sun. We did actually have a few days of sun. It wasn't forecasting it, but it was actually pretty good weather. Now, you can probably tell it's not done a bad job. His body and his arms, they're not quite the same whiteness as his legs, but he is getting there. A lot, the big lines down the back of his arms have pretty much faded away. The bit around his butt as well. And around his claws is all getting better. I think the issue is the hydrogen peroxide that I've been using is stuff that I've been using last year as well to clean up a bunch of other Star Wars figures, and I not entirely understand the science behind it, but I think that over time the chemical process and the gas that comes off, effectively what you end up with is basically just water left in the jar. Any scientists want to correct me in the comments below, feel free, but I'm pretty sure over time, obviously, it loses its potency for bleaching. So now you could leave him like that. He's not bad at all. I'd be quite happy with that. But one thing I have got as well we can try is this stuff, which is basically the same thing. I got this off eBay. It was about £6. It's 12%. As opposed to, I think the hydrogen peroxide solution was 4%. So it's stronger, and it's a cream. And basically, you brush it on and then do exactly the same thing. Put it in the sealed clear container and put it out in the sun. I have used this before. It's good for large objects that you haven't got. If you obviously having enough hydrogen peroxide and big enough clear container to submerge something large is a problem. What you can do is just paint this onto the larger surfaces, and then what I did is bought one of those kits for cleaning your oven that comes with the large clear bag that you put the chemical and your oven shelves and things in. I bought one of those. It was only about £1, I think, in one of the cheap shops, and that does the same thing. You can put the large objects, cover them in this stuff, put it in the bag, put it out in the sun, and that works as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to paint some of this onto some of the more yellowier bits, and we'll put him back in the jar, put him back out in the sun, and see what that does. Right, so it's been a couple of days. We've had some sunshine again. Very unusual, wasn't forecast, but it was great. It wasn't very warm, but the sun did shine. So yeah, this chap's been sitting here in his jar with the hydrogen peroxide cream on him, and I've just rinsed it off. I didn't bother showing you that bit, even though already seen my Wampa washing technique. You know I'm a pro. So anyway, here he is. And he's come out really well. As you can see, virtually all of the yellowing, all of this stuff that was down the back of his arms has all come off down the front, around his butt there as well. He's not quite, his body, he's not quite the same colour. It's not quite as white as the legs, but he's getting there. That's pretty much, I say, the guy's almost 40 years old. He's probably never going to look as good as he did when he was younger, as a lot of us can attest to. Yeah, but so yeah, that's turned out really well. Just some hydrogen peroxide, say some solution first and then some cream after, and he has come out looking pretty much almost new. Right, so here he is along with some other figures that I picked up last year from eBay. All of these figures went the same treatment, not the cream this time actually. All these ones just went in the hydrogen peroxide solution bath and out in the sun. Some of these only took a couple of hours when we had some nicer weather. Some of them were out there for a day. And they've all, as you can see, they've all come up pretty well. The Stormtrooper, his arms and legs were particularly yellow, as happens to a lot with them. The Luke as well, his arms were very yellow, as you can see. They're still slightly discoloured, but not any way as bad as they were. And the Leia has come up virtually looking brand new. I've had the two droids who had their legs were incredibly yellow. They're quite easy. They just disassemble you undo a screw and you can take the legs off. Then you don't have to worry about the stickers on there. Obviously, that you don't want to submerge in any liquid. But I'll probably show you how to do or do a restoration of one of those later because I've got some spare reproduction stickers as well for those. So yeah, we'll tackle that at a later date. But yeah, so there's the Hoth Wampa. Anyway, he's all done. Hope you enjoy the video. Please hit like if you did, and also please subscribe. We'll be doing some more of these restorations, probably some vehicles and some larger bits and pieces later, and also obviously geek news coming in every week. So thanks for watching, take care, and until next time, eat geek and be merry.